right, Randy, thanks so much for coming today and joining me here at Engaged Agility. We like to interview all of our coaches and just let the future students and clients know a little bit about what they're about. So
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah.
So Randy, first of all, tell me your story. Where did you learn about Agile? How did you become an Agile coach? Start at the beginning, I guess.
The majority of my time I've spent as a developer. I had fun doing that. I also did a lot of other stuff too. I was a system administrator, I did test management, I did release management, package software. It started for me in the late 90s. I worked with a small team, my first Agile team, and it was just a blast. We sat in with the users that we were working with, and we were able to just show them right there, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think about this? And just get that direct feedback. We were able to release quickly, test quickly, do everything quickly, and get the product out there that people really love. And during the process, I was actually able to get a patent on that piece of software. So it was a great time. And then I went back to, let's just say, a more traditional IT shop after that. And it was, it was what it was. It was long, complex development, big projects, lots of people burning out. I was among those lots of people burning out, so I know that feeling. I managed a few projects somewhere along the way too. I ended up becoming a Scrum Master, taking my Scrum Master class. And it was just such a fantastic experience for me because I realized that it had the ability to change everything, how we work and everything else. And it was fantastic. It was that moment of, hey, look, I can have what I had back in the late 90s, and just have a blast with developing software. And not just for myself, but for the people and the teams that I worked with. So that's really how it all started. I was a Scrum Master for a little while and enjoyed that and became an Agile coach and eventually became a transformation and an enterprise Agile coach as well, and a SAFe program consultant trainer, which is a pretty hard certification to get. So that's my genesis.
So in this trail of being a developer and then a Scrum Master and all of that, there was probably a point where like your brain just kind of flipped, and I call it the Agile spark or your Agile moment. Tell me about that Agile moment and what makes it so memorable for you.
I guess that moment was really taking my Certified Scrum Master class. And I remember coming home after I'd finished the class, and I was so excited, just absolutely over the top excited. And my wife looked at me and she said, I don't think I've ever seen you this happy. Whatever you're doing, I don't understand what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I will fully support you in whatever you feel like you need to do to stay that happy. So that was that spark moment for me, and that was really what set off the rest of the fun.
While we're probably not supposed to have favorites, we all have a favorite Agile team. Tell me about your favorite Agile team and kind of what it was that made them special.
My favorite Agile team was actually one that I couldn't help. They were so good on their own that I couldn't provide any value for them. Every time an issue came up, they would gather together, they would have a quick huddle, figure out where the issue came from, and figure out how to not encounter that issue again. I've loved so many of the Agile teams that I've worked with, but those guys were just exemplary, in their inspect and adapt, and they took their craft seriously. Just fantastic.
Obviously, as a coach, you do a lot of training, and so as you're doing a training class, what are some of those tricks, tools, and tips that you've got for engaging a class?
I've been teaching for a lot of years now. Making sure that you're telling stories that are relevant to the interests of the audience is key to me. I used to tell people early on in my teaching career that as an Agile coach, I got paid in stories, right? And the stories are the things that I tell to the people in my class and also tell the people that I coach. So I use those stories because stories really help hit home the points that we're trying to make. The other thing that I try to do that I think is important is just really understand where people are coming from, what they're interested in. And I try to listen to students and make sure that as we're going along, that I bring up some of the points that they mentioned. Hey, Mary, you had a question about this earlier. And this is where I'm going to answer that question, right? So just try to keep it personal. I try to just keep it relevant to people.
You always have to meet them where they are, right? And sometimes in a class we've got varying degrees of understanding and experience. And talking to each of the students, I think calling them by name, I think answering their specific question, and oh, yeah, this thing you asked about earlier, all of those are great ways. What made you go, you know what? Maybe I should go be one of 130 people that are going to be an SPCT, and I know that the requirements, they're pretty tough to get through. What made you decide, yes, I want to be an SPCT, and yes, I want to put in this work to do this?
Getting an SPCT is like a 2-year validated master's degree where you have to not just read books and do that kind of stuff, but actually go and do the work. And some of those requirements are actually really hard to get. For me, kind of that aha moment was realizing that I'd done it enough now that I could start to contribute back to the framework and try to make the framework better, to make people's lives better. That's kind of one of those things that I'm always out to try to make people's lives better somehow as a coach or as a trainer. My thing that I was most interested in that time was being able to contribute to product management, because SAFe was really a product delivery framework at that time. And so I wanted to be able to contribute to product management and just make the framework better and easier. And I thought, well, now is the time. I've done enough of it. I have something to contribute. I have something to give back. So I'm going to go ahead and start down that path so I can train others, teach others, mentor others, and give back.